Welcome back to another monthly cup recap where the top players of Faeria battle for $3,000. Modnik and King Dan's return to the cup with $150 bounties for other players to claim. Many countries were represented in the tournament with a strong showing from both France and Germany. We kicked off the tournament with second place finisher King Dan's versus PewQ. Dan's will be looking to take the whole tournament after falling short to his teammate Modnik. PewQ lost last time to King Dan's and will be looking for revenge on one of the favourites to win this month's cup. Dan starts off with the Dream Reaver Blue while PewQ brings Yellow Rush. Dan's gets his library early but is forced into a Mirror Phantasm play on the enemy June Drake. From here PewQ takes care of the library, starving Dan's of that crucial Faeria card draw. The pressure is too much for Dan's and PewQ is able to find the win. Mid-range green is up next for Dan's with a wealth of taunts to slow down PewQ. PewQ tries his hardest to navigate around the taunts, but bigger problems arise when Kodama shows up. Dan slowly builds aggressive lands towards PewQ throughout the match, and a Kodama is able to seal the game. Dream Reaver Blue is PewQ's next deck, playing a similar build to Dan's with Wandering Monks. Dan's is cursed with a slow hand, having to develop 4 forests before his first creature. Fantastic land placement allows Dan's to put enormous pressure on PewQ. It was easy to count Dan's out of this match due to the difference in quality of opening hands, but Dan's is able to take this match with patience and strong positional play. PewQ's last deck would be a mid-range green, which led to a mirror to decide his tournament life. Each player progressed down opposite sides of the board. Dan's was able to apply more pressure than PewQ, forcing him to invest resources into defense. Eventually, Dan's was able to find a tricky lethal with double Huntmaster, taking the series. King Dan's moved on to face Kahilian, who defeated the previous monthly cup's third place finisher, Satyrus. All eyes were on Modnik to see if he would become a third consecutive monthly cup champion. Next up was two-time monthly cup winner Sweetie versus ESL Cup winner Formond. These players had eliminated each other in past tournaments, and once again they would face off to see who would have a shot at a slice of $3,000. Sweetie started off with green-yellow sacrifice against Formond's yellow events. Things looked good at the start for Sweetie as he established early collectors. The battlefield heated up on the right side with Formond applying pressure, but Sweetie responded with a defensive yak attack. Formond saw an open with his Windstorm charges and made an aggressive line of plays that won him the first match. Sweetie responded with mid-range green and got a strong lead with quick forest progression down the left side. An early Kodama made life difficult for Formond while his hand was clogged up with utility cards. Formond tried to hold on, but a Verdant Force is too much for him to handle, conceding the game to Sweetie. Green-Yellow Sacrifice was Formond's next deck, which came as a surprise since he had already played a mono-yellow deck. The two players fought for the left side of the board, with Formond taking the lead following an Oakland buff on his Wood Elemental. Things looked good for Formond until Sweetie teleported a Verdant Force into an aggressive position. Formond couldn't defend with his creatures as they were out of position. He didn't find the removal he needed to answer the empowered Verdant Force, falling once again to Sweetie's mid-range green. Formond would have to finish the series off with his blue Dream Reaver deck. Formond was able to open with double Forbidden Library, giving him an enormous Faeria card advantage. Sweetie went down the left and Formond contested him with Ancient Heralds and Mirror Phantasms. The game came to a swift end when Formond got his Dream Reaver on board. He is able to clear Sweetie's last line of defense with an empowered Farm Boy by Aurora. The final game in this intense series was settled with a blue mirror. Sweetie's deck was an older version of blue known as Blue Sevens with a teched-in Dream Reaver. Both players built towards the right side with Formond applying pressure with his Ancient Heralds. A yak attack came down from Sweetie to try and hold them off, but aggressive lands allowed Formond's final Herald to apply pressure. A discounted Dream Reaver for Formond is too much for Sweetie to handle, and he takes the series. New Blood prevailed in the bracket as Little Newbie and Incognito D took out two of the top French players, while Aya73 defeated tournament favourite Cappuccino. Fans looked to the team Equilibrium duo Modnik and King Dan's to take the tournament. King Dans returned to the spotlight but had another strong opponent to battle. Camfic is one of the most active tournament participants with multiple high places across the monthly cups and the ESL cups. Both players led with Dream Reaver blue decks, but Camfic had the edge with an early Forbidden Library. Blows are exchanged until a Beirut comes down for Camfic, giving him the edge on board. Dans had the answer, but the Faeria and card acceleration from Camfic's library was too overwhelming. A sturdy shell answered Dan's last line of defense, and Camfic's Dream Reaver sealed the game. Dans responded with his yellow events deck, and a heated battle commenced on the left side of the board. Camfic had a hand of utility cards, but unfortunately couldn't keep anything alive thanks to Dan's ball control. Windstorm Colossi came down to finish the game, and Camfic tried to hold on, but eventually fell to the Wind Soldier finish. Next up for Camfic is Green Yellow Sacrifice, a deck that's had strong representation throughout the cup. Dan's got a fantastic opener with Kaleem and applied pressure at the right side of the board. Camfic was able to fend Dan's off and get down a Soul Eater of his own. This match came down to the wire with both players exhausted of resources. Dans is forced to Last Nightmare a Tiki Caretaker in order to protect his archers, the only remaining creatures in his deck. Camfic follows up with the Soul Eater, which is too much for Dans to handle. Dan's final deck is his mid-range green, a deck that had been excellent for him during the tournament. Dans went down the left side but is met by Deathwalkers who are able to push him back. A positional error opened up Camfic, and a slam from Oakfather safely eliminated a Deathwalker. From here, Camfic tried to keep Dans at bay, but a Kodama is able to tie up the series. One deck remained for Camfic, which was a red-yellow burn events hybrid deck, a unique deck that caught the viewers and casters by surprise. Matched up against green was a big problem for Camfic due to the high health stats of Dan's creatures. Camfic made a push with his Scourgeflame Spectra, but is overwhelmed by a swarm of green creatures, sealing a series for King Dans. King Dans continued his run in the tournament, but teammate and two-time monthly cup champion Modnik lost to Sushiko. Faeria veteran Formon took a close loss to Korea's Donpork, while the previous 4th place finisher Purlorn fell to IS-73. Dans returned to the spotlight to play in the semi-finals against Russian player IS-73. Dans held experience over the young Russian, but a tense match was to follow. Aya led with his mid-red deck, but against Dan's blue he played it like a red rush deck to deal with Forbidden Library. Dans did everything in his power to protect his library, but a Flame Burst is enough to open up his defenses. Another Flame Burst comes down later to protect Aya's Fire Elemental, and Dans can no longer stop the beatdown. An Axe Grinder and a Firebringer is enough to give Aya game number 1. Dans fell back on his mid-range green, a deck that had helped him make a comeback earlier in the tournament. Aya pushed down the left side of the board with Dans playing defense. Dan's defense was able to buy him time while he progressed towards Aya's orb. A Sagami Huntmaster play gave Dan some breathing room and allowed him to become the aggressor. The race was on, and Aya was one turn away from a double Flame Burst finish, but Dans rips Elderwood Embrace off the top for a lethal. Aya brought his own mid-range green in game number 3, confident in the mirror match. Aya's build was different to Dan's and perhaps better for fighting other green decks. The match kicked off with a Verdun force storming down the right side of the board, backed up by reinforcements. Tefra came down to Dan's rescue, making a giant Living Willow to slow Aya down. Aya continued the pressure, and Dans tried his best to stall him, but a teleported Oakfather is able to seal the deal. With his back against the wall, Dans had to finish the series with his yellow events deck. The battlefield is developed on the right side, with Dans trying to control the game with Outland Rangers. However, they couldn't stand up to the power of Farian Golems. Dans is once again fighting from behind, and Runin the Relentless was able to hold him off. The cost reduction from her repeated destruction finally caught up to Dans, giving Aya enough power to win the match. Following his victory, IS-73 booked his spot in the Grand Finals alongside Incognito D, defeating Donpork 3-0. The top 4 are rewarded with a guaranteed spot in January's $3,000 monthly cup. King Dans had to play one final game to get his share of $3,000, but he first had to defeat the up-and-coming Korean Don Pork. One player would take home $500 and the other would get no prize money at all. Dan's Blue Reaver deck would go up against Don Pork's mid-red. Don Pork led with an aggressive land aiming to take out a Forbidden Library. A swarm of Wandering Monks combined with great defensive land placement fended off Don Pork's aggression. Dans made short work of Don Pork's offense and set up a Dream Reaver to take the victory. Don Pork brought out his yellow events deck for game 2 and both players started off with a strong creature base. Windstorm Charger, powered up by events, was able to make short work of Dan's board. Eventually, Dans was overwhelmed by Windstorm Colossus, tying the series 1-1. Once again, Dans returned to his green deck to find a win. Don Pork had a good start but is no match for a buffed Wood Elemental followed by a Huntmaster. Don Pork tried to fight back but an Oakfather spelled trouble as it cleaned up the board with the assistance of more Huntmasters. Don Pork attempted the race with Kaleem, but Dans overran him with the help of Kodama and Grove Guardian, taking yet another victory with his green deck. A green mirror would decide Don Pork's tournament life and his chance to win $500. Don Pork took the left side and was able to gain board advantage with the assistance of Kodama. Dan set up a defense, but Don Pork made a relentless push to his orb. Faeria Golem applied pressure, but Tephra came down to Dan's rescue. The tables are turned on the right side as Dans leads an army of bulky green creatures to Don Pork's orb. Don Pork tried to defend, but the slam mechanic made it too difficult. Dans is able to win the game and take third place with $500. And now, the deciding match of the tournament. Incognito D versus Aya73, two players making their debut in the Monthly Cup Grand Finals. Let's see who is crowned our December champion. Incognito would lead with a mid-range green to take on Aya73's mid-range red. Both players went for the right side where they would contest for the wells. Incognito set up a strong defense until a Horsemaster allowed Aya to place an aggressive mountain. A Faeria Golem came to the rescue, but Aya pushed the aggressive lands to his opponent's orb. These lands paid off when a Firebringer came down, blocked by a Fire Elemental. Aya outmaneuvered Incognito's defenses while pushing orb damage. Incognito is left with 4 health and managed to clear the board, but a double flame burst gave Aya game number 1. Incognito switched to his red rush, with Aya feeling confident he could win the race. Both players went straight down the middle, but Incognito had the advantage with a durable King's Faithful. However, it wasn't going to live for long when Aya goes Fire Elemental into double Cypher's Wrath. This would ultimately decide the game, with Aya being 1 turn ahead in the race. Incognito went for an aggressive Outland Ranger, but the destruction of his King's Faithful was too crippling for him to catch up. The race came to a conclusion when Aya is able to push more damaging creatures, taking a decisive game 2. Incognito was fighting for his tournament life with his final deck, a Dream Reaver Blue. He started off strong with a Water Elemental to try and slow down the aggression. Unfortunately, another Fire Elemental saved the day, giving Aya the aggressive land he needed. Incognito relied on an Ancient Herald to defend while he collected precious Faeria with his Elemental. Aya was already holding the answer and takes out the Herald with a Cypher's Wrath while pushing orb damage. Incognito tried to hold off with a Mirror Phantasm, but the damage had already been done and the pressure was too much. And so the series came to an end, 3-0, Aya being your Monthly Cup champion. Congratulations to the top 3 finishers for winning their share of $3,000. We will see them return in January for the next Monthly Cup. If you'd like to get involved, head over to esports.faeria.com for more details. Thanks for watching, and I hope to see you all at the next Faeria Monthly Cup.